Good morning. This is What's Going On Central Illinois, the Greater Peoria Public Affairs Program, a weekly check of charitable community events, organizations, and neighborhood goings-on with me, Roxy, a production of Cumulus Central Illinois. And today on the phone, I have Casey Murphy. He's the Vice President of the St. Patrick's Society of Peoria and event chair for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Good morning, Casey.
Good morning, Roxy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, but I'm wondering if Murphy, is that an Irish name? It just doesn't sound right.
It's somewhere in there. We haven't really zoomed in on it, but we think it's Irish. Yes.
And we have a big event coming up, the St. Patrick's Parade on March 17th, and we want to hear
That's like
all
in a week.
about. It's craziness. I'm excited. It's a Monday this year, a Monday fun day. So let's talk about the parade.
Well, you are 100% right. It is going to be a fun day. What would you like to know? I mean, there's a lot of information.
So what time does the parade kick off? What is the route? And what can people expect?
The parade starts at 11 o'clock, and this year it's going to be a little different, just like every year. It's starting down by Bryan and Monroe Street, down by the firehouse, and it's going towards Main Street, down Monroe, turning left on Monroe to Adams Street, and turning left on Adams Street, ending at Hamilton. So there's plenty of places to line up, and if you got the kids, maybe go over to the to the Monroe Street side. It's a little less rowdy there. The kids can go out and grab as much candy as they can carry.
That is what we love about parades.
Oh, I think I've even been known to jump out and grab a Tootsie Roll here and there.
I'm a big fan of the Tootsie Rolls, especially the midgies.
Ooh, I'm kind of greedy. I go for the big one.
Oh, well, you can have those. That way we don't have to share. Now,
that's right.
Weather-wise, I'm looking at the extended forecast, which we know can change. But right now it's saying partly cloudy and 45, but no precipitation. So the parade goes on, rain or shine?
That's correct. There is no rain date. It's rain or shine. And, 45 and no rain, I'll take it. We've had some really interesting weather over the years. Sometimes it rains, snows, windy. Sometimes we have all of it. But we're using all the connections we can. We are... The bishop is participating in the parade this year, and he's actually even going to give a blessing to the parade at 10:45 in the staging area. So we really think that's going to help.
I think you're right. Get the bishop in on the action. So lineup is at 10 o'clock. So if you're in the parade and you've registered, line up at 10 and steps off at 11 a.m. I know in years past, there have been so many fantastic floats, and there's so much good energy that comes from this parade. Are we expecting the same thing this year?
No, it's going to be awful this year, Roxy.
Casey, you mentioned the staging area and the bishop's blessing. What is a staging area? Is that for everyone, or is that just for people that are in the parade?
That's just for the participants, Roxy. If you picture the whole parade like a big Broadway show with music and costumes and everything like that, the staging area is kind of like the backstage.
I got you.
And that's where all the floats, we get everybody lined up in order so that, we get these really talented and beautiful announcers in one of the booths that read the voices or read the names of the groups. We put them all in order. And it's just this really amazing atmosphere for the hour and a half before the parade. And everyone's running around, putting the last minute decorations on their car. And this person needs some masking tape, and that one's balloon flew away. And every year we have somebody who leaves their radio going and needs a jump start. It's really an exciting time. One year I think somebody had a grill going and was making burgers for everybody. It was kind of fun.
It is an amazing atmosphere, and
that it is.
Run by volunteers.
100% volunteer run. We've got a crew of volunteer block captains. You can identify them by their neon safety vests. All the volunteers, we get together and have a big training session, go over the rules, hand out their stylish vests, have a few snacks, and turn them loose on parade day. And they just kind of help guide us down the street, keep everybody in order, keep everybody safe, and make sure we're all having a good time.
That is the key to the entire day. The motto, have a good time. Now, you mentioned the people running around, volunteering. Are there volunteer opportunities for people that just want to help out?
Absolutely, yes. Tell you what, if you are interested in volunteering as part of the parade staff, send an email to info@stpatpeoria.com, and we'll make sure that the right person gets that.
That's info@stpatpeoria.com. I'm talking with Casey Murphy. He's the vice president of the St. Patrick's Society of Peoria and event chair for one of my favorite days of the year, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And what do we know what year this is?
This is 2025, Roxy.
What year of the parade?
Well, we got to do some creative math because 2020 was going to be our 40th parade.
Okay.
But then we missed two, so this is 2025. So this would be our 45th parade. It's our 45th year, 43rd parade.
Very good. That's a long time.
It is.
It is always an amazing time. It's a sea of green in downtown Peoria. And I know that because I'm one of the announcers for the parade, which is just one of the most fun jobs you can have. And my friend Chris and I, and the sea of green is amazing. Now, with it being a Monday parade, do you think we're going to have the same turnout?
I think we will. It's going to, it could go either way. If everybody's at work, maybe they'll come out during their lunch break, so we'll have a few more. It's really hard to tell. I never know what to expect. But, it's going to might be a slightly different flavor this year, Roxy. You mentioned the sea of green. In the past, we always had a theme for the floats to follow. For a while, we got away from that just because everyone was just so happy to be downtown again that we just kind of made it the theme St. Patrick's Day. Well, by popular demand, we have now brought back the theme, and you're going to see a lot of floats decorated in the theme of showbiz, which could be TV, movies, things like that. Like, for example, I know we have one float that's coming depicting the show Cheers, where I can't tell you too much more. I don't want to be a spoiler, but they're making their theme of come to our business where everybody knows your name, and I think they're going to do some more with it. So hopefully we're going to see a lot of that. There's a lot of really cool things. I know the Wheels O' Time Museum always sends some really interesting vehicles. Walter Brothers likes to send a bunch of motorcycles. They send their coolest ones. Jimmy John's has actually made a float this year. I think they're going to be driving a big sandwich down the road. I don't know what to expect there.
Love it.
And then, of course, the Peoria Prowlers Roller Derby League. They always get all dressed up and have a good time.
Yes, they do. And the rugby team is amazing as well.
Yeah, with that flying pig. I still don't know how that thing works, but it's pretty cool to watch. You got to see it.
It's pretty magical, like leprechauns.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of leprechauns, we've got some VIPs that are going to be in the parade this year too.
Do tell.
Yeah, well, a lot of people already know, just from around town, our Grand Marshal and Irish Mother of the Year. Our Grand Marshal for the year is a gentleman by the name of Terry Tate. He's been very active with the Irish community over the years with Friends of Clonmel. The Irish Mother of the Year is Martha Hubner. Many of you people know her from Tretzker's Bakery in Peoria Heights. She's been volunteering with us since, we think, 2006. None of us remember when she actually started. We were talking the other night, but just very involved, very generous, high-spirited, always out there dancing with the band.
Absolutely, she does.
Good friends of all of ours, and we're very happy for them. You can see them in the very beginning of the parade. They'll be riding in some fancy convertibles I've lined up. Really going to be a good time. So if you know Terry or Martha, please congratulate them.
Both amazing individuals, and Martha usually brings sugar cookies. So Terry, she may be just a hair above you in likability right now.
Well, Terry's been taking cooking classes. I think he bought a tube of those ready-made cookies to slice up and put on a tray. We never know how that's going to go. He knows he has to step up the game.
I love that. Tell me more about the St. Patrick's Society of Peoria. How can someone become a member? Do you have to have Irish lineage or just interest in the culture?
You just have to be interested in the culture. Anybody can be a member. There are two levels of membership. There's an annual for $15, and then there's a life member for $150.
So if you think you're going to be around longer than 10 years, it's a better deal.
That's right. It's a much better deal. But, for that membership, not only do you help support the society, but it gives you the opportunity to be involved with all our events, gives you the first dibs on the cool volunteer jobs. And also you get some discounts on various things.
Okay, so you mentioned the other events. Excellent segue. St. Patrick's Society does more than just the parade. What else does St. Patrick's Society do?
Well, we have multiple events. One of them is the Gaelic Gold Raffle, which goes on year-round. We have multiple drawings, and you can contact any of the board members to buy some raffle tickets. You can find us through the website at stpatpeoria.com. Another event we do, Raxa, which you may be familiar with, is our annual Trivia Challenge.
I am.
We had a good time at that this year. Last few years, we've had it at the Fox Pub up on Pioneer Parkway, and it's just a really good time. We all get together. There's cash prizes and goodie bag raffles, and a really talented, charming host, if I recall. MC. What's your role? It seems like you're everywhere. Everywhere there's a microphone, you show up. How does that happen?
I'm attracted to microphones. Cannot tell a lie, especially if it's for a good cause.
That's true. Well, there's microphones at Peoria Irish Fest too, and I seem to see you there as well.
Yes.
So
Irish Fest.
That's right. That's our big event towards the end of August. And it's a 3-day music festival down at the riverfront. Not just music, there's food, whiskey, refreshments, displays, cultural things, anything you can think of, sports. I think there were sheep last year running around.
There were sheep. The Highland Games are one of my favorite things. And like you said, the live music is awesome. And it's Irish for music nerds like myself.
Like us.
You're right. It's interesting how much of American music came from Irish, and all types of American music can find its roots in Irish music and Gaelic or Celtic music. It is a great celebration of everything Irish and Irish American.
Well, I was going to say, you don't have to be Irish to go to that either.
Right.
I mean, even if you just want to check out a different culture and just see what there is, it's not like everyone's running around waving shillelaghs at each other. There's more to it than that.
I mean, we could look into that, but...
Well, that might be an event this year, We're always looking to expand. And we mentioned before about being a part of it. If you'd like to volunteer, I know it's a few months off, but if you'd like to volunteer at Peoria Irish Fest, whether you want to work in a ticket booth or maybe try your hand at bartending or be part of our setup and tear down crew and act as, the muscle behind the event, again, drop an email to info@stpatpeoria.com and we'll make sure the right person gets hold of your information.
I'm talking with Casey Murphy. He's the VP for St. Patrick's Society of Peoria and event chair for St. Patrick's Parade. Also talking about the other events that the St. Patrick's Society of Peoria does. Now, the St. Patrick Society of Peoria has been around since 1980.
That's correct, yeah.
They are helping to educate everybody about what the Irish are and how they have influenced our community. One of my favorite things at Irish Fest is there's a whole display about famous Irish Americans and Irish Americans that are from our area. And I think it is very, very smart of us to recognize the history of all the different cultures that make up our amazing community.
I agree with you. The riverfront does have a lot of really cool cultural events that go on, but I am biased. Ours is kind of my favorite.
But it is great that we live in a community that recognizes all of them.
That's absolutely correct.
Murph, it's funny because in real life, I call you Murph, but I've been very formal in calling you Casey right now, but we're going to drop that because we're talking all about the St. Patrick Parade. St. Patrick Day, March 17th. Steps off at 11 o'clock. You want to get there early and get your seat because it does fill up along the parade route. You can get all the information about the parade at stpatpeoria.com. Now, we had talked about sponsorships and people that were involved with the parade and what it takes to put it together. And you have a very special sponsor I'd love for you to talk about.
That's right, Roxy. This year, the parade, well, actually, this year again, the parade is sponsored in part by the Illinois Lottery. They're providing some funding to help defray the cost our cost to have the parade. It's actually a very expensive venture.
So the Illinois Lottery is helping to sponsor. That seems pretty lucky. Get it? Luck of the Irish?
Well, there's probably a pot of gold you can win somewhere if you buy the right ticket. Yes, the Illinois Lottery has been very generous in, once again, helping defray the cost to host the parade. Between their generosity and the application fees, which everybody has to pay to be part of the parade, that helps us cover our costs. It's a very expensive venture.
All right, so the Illinois Lottery, there's a pot of gold somewhere. We got to find it.
That's right. And they're going to be in the parade as well. Watch for their heavily decorated truck and the happy people running around. I think they're going to be giving away, I don't know, something. I'm not going to say what because I don't know.
Okay. Maybe it's a pot of gold. You won't know if you're
Could
not
be.
there. March 17th, the parade kicks off at 11 o'clock, and there is a judging area. We do have judges that will be keeping an eye out, and that is where you'll find me. I am not judging, but I will be announcing the parade. It is such a good time and family friendly. Everybody just seems to be in such a good mood on that day.
That's right. It really is. And I've been asked, what's the appeal of the parade? What's the big deal? And the best I can figure, aside from my own biased reason, is obviously the guy who runs it is incredibly charming and talented. But I think I think a lot of it has to do is this is the first big event after being cooped up all winter. Everybody gets to be outside. Maybe the rules for what you're allowed to drink on the street is a little more relaxed that day, and it's just just reason to be outside, meet up with old friends you haven't seen in a while. And you mentioned family friendly too. There's a lot of kids, a lot of families out there, especially on Monroe Street where it's not as rowdy. With plenty of candy and beads to be caught. We were talking about some of the entries earlier, like Walter's Brothers and the Wheels of Time Museum.
Yes.
But we also have the more traditional entries we're going to see too. The leading the parade is always the color guards and the Celtic Cross Pipes and Drum Bagpipe Group. And of course, we're going to see Flynn's Irish Dancers too, like we do every year. They've been in it forever.
Yes. The curls will be bouncing.
That's right.
Will there be marching bands? I am a big fan of marching bands.
Well, Roxy, have we got a treat for you? Yes, there's going to be several local schools with their marching bands. I don't have a list in front of me, but I know there's going to be a few, and also accompanied by their cheerleaders and dance teams as well. So you get a little audio and visual.
The St. Patrick Society of Peoria Vice President Casey Murphy, he is the parade chair for the 40-ish.
Let's just put 40 and then question mark.
Right.
We'll put it up there.
Darn COVID. The St. Patrick Parade is kicking off March 17th at 11 a.m. Anything you'd like to leave us with before we go chase our pot of gold?
I think we covered everything. I mean, the volunteers are what makes this thing come together. The people that show up and cheer us on the street catching candy and beads are the whole reason we're there. And, every year, like I mentioned before, we always try to get some attractive talent and popular announcers, but this year we're going to go with you and Chris instead.
And it's our pleasure.
That's right. And, I will always look forward to seeing that whole crowd up there in what I call the fishbowl. If you're over there by Madison and Maine, you see this big glass tower with Roxy, Chris, our celebrity judges, and just making sure everybody has a good time. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's just a few days away now.
I'm excited as well. Casey Murphy, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on March 17th, and I hope we get a big crowd this year.
Thanks so much, Roxy, for having me. I'll be looking forward to seeing all of you there.
Save the date, March 17th. It's the St. Patrick's Day Parade, brought to you by the St. Pat Society of Peoria. You can find all the info at stpatpeoria.com. I'm Roxy, and this has been another episode of What's Going On Central Illinois, the Greater Peoria Public Affairs Program, a weekly check of charitable community events, organizations, and neighborhood goings-on, a production of Cumulus Central Illinois. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to see you at the parade, and we'll talk next week for another episode of What's Going On Central Illinois. Now make some beautiful memories and do your best to be kind to all kinds. That doesn't cost a thing.